Hey, it's Matt Moscona. You found it. It's AFR LSU, your home for daily content on your favorite team, Fighting Tigers of LSU. And we're proud to be presented by BetUS, where this football season, get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000. Be sure to use the promo code YouTube150. Now, enjoy the video. A beauty, as they say, is in the eye of the beholder, but when it comes to this transfer portal class, everyone beholding, it's a consensus. LSU is at or near the top of every list because, man, the work LSU's done, and quite honestly, the money they spent as well has been impressive. Brad Crawford says LSU's the big winner so far in this portal class. He writes for 24/7 Sports, part of CBS as well. He's good enough to join us here. Hey, Brad, always appreciate it, man. Happy New Year. How are you?
Yeah, man, you too. It's been a busy January. I got home from Pasadena a couple days ago, so looking forward to 2 playoff games this week and then Atlanta next weekend.
Yeah, man. I love that this thing is extended to the end of January, but a different conversation for a different day. Why do you love what LSU's done in the portal?
I think LSU has massively upgraded at the wide receiver position. Barrion Brown is a guy that several SEC programs wanted. Not only is he going to help out in the speed department on LSU's offense, but he is going to be undoubtedly one of the SEC's top special teamers. Like the Destin Hill from Florida State, he's a guy who maybe hasn't had the career yet that a lot of us thought he would, but I think that he can break out in Baton Rouge. And then one of the big ones is Nick Anderson. Oklahoma did not need to lose him. Now the Sooners have one of the worst wide receiver groups in the SEC heading into 2025. So LSU has upgraded significantly at wide receiver, and they spent a lot of money on defense too.
So it's funny that you started with wide receiver because offense wasn't really LSU's problem for the most part this year, but they undeniably got better. Defense was an issue again.
Yeah.
What do you think about what they did on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I think Mansour Delane from Virginia Tech and Jakeem Jackson from Florida, 2 cornerbacks. I mean, they're going to be instantly in the 2 deep there at LSU. Cornerback has been a bad position, let's face it, the past couple of years, really since Derek Stingley left. LSU has not had an elite player at the position, so they're going to get better in the secondary. And then Jack Pyburn from Florida at edge. I mean, he's a guy that the Gators did not want to lose, but to be honest with you, LSU just paid more, and Florida said, we're gonna back off. So he's a guy that I think can have an 8 or 9 sack season for LSU's defense. And like you said, man, that side of the football, if LSU intends on making the playoff, it has to be elite.
We'll get right back to the video, but thrilled to tell you again about our partners at BetUS here this football season. The semifinals are here. Great time to find out about BetUS. If you haven't done so yet, you get that 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150. All the info is right here on the screen. Let's lock in our bet for the semifinals. Easy. You go to BetUS, you get football, go to the NCAA football championships. 2 games, of course, with the semifinals. I think there is great value because of recency bias with Texas. Of course, Ohio State looked great. Texas needed double overtime to beat Arizona State. That number should not be 6. I will take 6 points with the Longhorns in the college football playoff semifinal. So we'll come up to the top, how much we want to wager, say $25. Place the bet. It'll ask me to confirm. And just like that, we are locked in for our bet. Texas +6. Lots of value there with the Longhorns. You can make your wager at BetUS. Get a 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Now, enjoy the rest of the video. We'll get to the playoff here in just a quick second. Brad Crawford is our guest from 24/7 Sports, of course, part of CBS as well. Brad, I'm most interested in obviously covering it from a national perspective as you do. The more years and more cycles that we have, the more we're learning about how college football is going to behave around the portal and everything. Now into this season, in this portal cycle, what do you see? Like, what are some 10,000-foot flyover view observations of how college football programs are building their roster and how it's behaving right now with the portal?
Yeah, I'm seeing some of these positions, man, being 3 and 4X compared to last cycle as far as NIL deals are concerned. I mean, there's a power conference team that signed a G5 quarterback who started at a 6-6, 7-5 type school, and he got $1.5 million. And so that power conference school is like, putting all their eggs in a basket of a guy who's never played against elite competition. That's a worry. I'm seeing backup quarterbacks being paid $300,000 and $400,000 just to be retained, who might not even play next season. So, coaches are having a hard time, man, just trying to have roster retention. Not only do you have to recruit high school guys and, sign a dozen or more portal guys to fill personnel issues, but you have to also keep the best players you have. The numbers didn't come out on Garrett Nussmeier, but I can assure you he will be one of college football's highest paid quarterbacks next year, because I think if he would have come out, there's a chance that Garrett could have been quarterback 3 in this NFL draft.
Do you? The question everybody asks is it sustainable? And maybe this is a program-to-program conversation, Brad, but when you get posed that question, what do you say?
No, I don't think it is. And I think we're going to have a collective bargaining situation here in about a year in college football. A lot of this is going to change. From the player standpoint, I would enter the portal every cycle that I'm able to, just to try and get more money from whoever represents me. These schools, have hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. I know they're asking fans to pay NIL. Alabama's AD has come out and, gotten on his knees basically and asked fans, we need more money to compete and with the elites. But if I'm a wide receiver and I just had a 1,200-yard touchdown, a 1,200-yard season with 10 touchdowns, I'm getting paid in 2025. And until things change, I think you see the elite players doing that.
So do you think, and Brad Crawford's our guest here from 24/7 Sports, do you think that, do you notice that coaches are changing the way they recruit from the high school level because of what feels inevitable right now? Every year a quarter of college football is in the portal, which means after 2 years, half of your high school class is gone.
Yeah, I think unless you're, really one of the 6 to 8 have-nots in college football, obviously LSU, in my opinion, is one of those, half dozen teams or so, but you have to recruit year to year. In 2025, after spring practice, I think the spring transfer portal is going to be huge, because you're going to have big names enter that portal, and basically, since you're going to have a small amount of players left for a bunch of holes for these top 25 teams, they're going to get premium dollar because there's only a few months before the season starts. So I think at most programs, though, you are just trying to make the playoff year to year. You are not trying to build a roster 2 and 3 years down the road, and you're not worried about player development, to be honest with you, because you're only as good as your next 12 games in college football.
Yeah, Brad, it's interesting that the segue there about building to get to the playoff, because I've said I think with what LSU has done here, that is the baseline expectation for 2025. If they are not in a 12-team college football playoff, it is a cataclysmic failure with what they spent, what they have coming back, what they have coming in. You took a stab at a way too early college football playoff projection, and you have LSU in as a 7 seed, so hosting a first-round game against the 10-seed Miami. Tell us how you came to that conclusion.
Yeah, this would likely be LSU either finishing SEC runner-up to Texas, who is my SEC preseason favorite, or, perhaps being a 10-2 team somewhere in that log jam of second and third place teams. LSU's a team in 2025. I look at them a lot like I look at this 2024 Ohio State team. 9 months ago, Ohio State was my preseason favorite to win it all because they spent $20 million on this roster. Now, it took Ryan Day several months to get this team to play at a level that warrants that much spending. But I think Brian Kelly has a staff in place, and Brian Kelly has said on the record that he expects to be in the playoffs next season. 2 years ago at Media Days, man, I talked to Brian Kelly, and he did not have that same expectation. 2 years later, he feels the roster's at a spot now with NIL where he can get it. So the LSU schedule, it begins at Clemson. That's a game that I think LSU has to win to be one of those at-large playoff teams if this squad does not win the SEC.
He is Brad Crawford, like many, likes what LSU did here in the portal and kind of projected to be a playoff team in 2025. I assume we're going to hear a lot of that between now and August. Brad, we appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for the time as always.
No problem at all, man.
Thanks so much for watching the video. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, hit the bell so you're notified when we post a new video, and remember to support BetUS, where right now you can get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. Be sure to use that promo code YouTube150.